start off with my first video. I'm going to start off talking about, I want you to hear me clearly, vampires, parasite. Yeah, you heard me right? Vampire parasite. There's so many people, millions of people all over the world is suffering from parasite. They don't know what to do. Now, I'm not going to give you all of the info on this one video, so I'm going to be posting at least 1 or 2 videos every week to give you some information and show you how you can overcome parasites. And the number one thing you have to do, it has to be a consistent diet with no sugar. And that's why I messed up at it. So let's go on the journey. I want to take you on a journey for about 3 or 4, maybe 5 minutes. I want to take you on a journey and let you know what happened to me. First, number one, I was in the bed and I began to feel these things crawling on me. And I was scratching, and I felt something crawling on the outside on my legs. Then I felt them crawling on the inside of me, then under my feet. And it got so bad, it got on my brain. And so I had parasites all over my back. And then I really didn't know what was going on, but I said, I must have a parasite of something. So that started the journey on trying to find out, Googling parasites, trying to find out what in the world is going on with me. And then number 2, how can I get rid of what's going on with me? And that started the journey, that they're causing their own sickness. They don't know that they're causing brain tumors and stage 2, stage 4. They starting high blood and diabetes and all other things, arthritis going on in their body, and they have no idea. Well, what happened? How did I get it? How do I get rid of it? Well, we're not going to talk about getting healed, but we're going to be talking about getting healthy. Now let's get to the vampire parasite. So I started itching, I started scratching, I felt all these things crawling on me, and at night when I went to bed, the parasite was crawling on my legs, and so therefore that started my journey. So I started researching, then I started going to the health food stores, trying to find out what's going on. Eventually, it got so bad, I went to the doctor. I told the doctor that I have parasite. After I did the research, I have parasite. So I went to the doctor, and they want to know how you know you have parasite. They did a tube test. But if you go to a doctor that doesn't have any experience, that doesn't know anything about parasites, you need to find a doctor, an infectious doctor. And sometimes you have to go to your regular doctor, and then they have to refer you to another doctor. And that's what happened to me. I went to him, he did a tube test, couldn't find anything. But I want you to know they was crawling, and I mean they would eat me up on the inside, crawling. I can feel them in my face, I can feel them in my arm, up on my feet, crawling in my stomach, in my back, all over my back. And I used to get against the wall and do this, scratching my back. But still didn't have anything that I could take. So when I first went to the health food store, I bought something that I thought would help for candida. I didn't know what candida was during that particular time. And so when I went to my doctor, and so he did a tube test. It came back negative. So he sent me to another doctor. Did the same thing, because what happened was, the reason I call them vampire parasite, and what profound the doctors was this. I want y'all to stay tuned now. What profound the doctors is this. I was anemic, number 1. Then number 2, my blood went missing. And that began the doctors scratching their head. They couldn't find out what was going on. Well, where's this blood? So I'm not passing blood, but I did pass blood the first time in my stool. And let me hit the rewind button. I was in the fitness room exercising. So while I was exercising, something unusual happened. I started getting weak. I started getting faint. I started getting nervous. And I didn't know what was going on, me and my grandson. And so I made it home, and I just wasn't feeling good. And so, and that's really what sent me to the doctor. And so I found out about, I began to realize about all of the crawling of the parasite. That was after then. But I had to go to the doctor because I didn't know what was going on. I felt like I was going to faint. I would stand up, I would fall on the bed, almost pass out on the bed. And I didn't know why I could be standing up and just fall down. And so then I started bleeding. I started bleeding because I felt something like needles sticking in my stomach. I just started bleeding all over the place. So how did I know I was bleeding? The blood wasn't red. It was black. And so I remember when I had ulcer a long time ago and I had to get a transfusion, blood transfusion. And I remember what my bowels looked like then. And when I went to use the bathroom, my bowel was heavy. And it looked like it was heavy. And then when I passed my bowel, you can hear the water splash. So then I knew when I saw how black and how dark it was, I knew that I was bleeding on the inside. For you all don't know anything about Formula P. I have a doctor friend of mine that had a health food store. He had a formula called Formula P. And I knew Formula P because he's my friend. I knew Formula P, even policemen use that for gunshot wounds. And I got me some Formula P. I took the Formula P. The next day, the bleeding had stopped. So I played my own doctor. I had been doing it for years because I knew about herbs. I knew, matter of fact, a doctor friend of mine trained me for about 30-some years in herbs and how to use herbs and how to use different products and different things like that. So I was well schooled. I knew about bleeding and different things like that, but I wasn't going to let anybody put me in the hospital. So I continued to have those stools in a day and a half. No, it was the next day the bleeding stopped. And so my doctor, they couldn't find my blood. They couldn't find my blood, and I mean everybody scratching it. So I went to the other doctor, they could find him. He couldn't understand. He said, because my doctor told me, he said, usually when people like this have a type A anemia or something like that, they have cancer. That's what he told me. I said, I don't have cancer, I have parasite. I don't have cancer. So I went to another doctor. And so he couldn't find out anything wrong with me. So I went to another doctor. He couldn't find anything wrong with me. So I finally went to Emory Hospital here in Atlanta, Georgia. And so they did a test scan. The doctor came in, they did a CAT scan on me. He did it in my stomach, wanted to know what was going on. And when he did, to make a long story short, when he came back in the room, number one, they couldn't understand. And by the way, I'm 72 years old. Look, Mom, no wrinkles. And so he couldn't figure out. Now, my doctor said, during the time I was 69 years old, and he said, he looked at me, he said, how old are you? I know I'm going back and forth, I'm trying to make a point. He said, how old are you? I said, I'm 69 years old. He looked at me, he couldn't believe it, because I looked so young. I look so young and vibrant. I can do anything I want and still can with no sickness. Hadn't been sick in over 30-some years, except for the parasite. And so he just couldn't believe it. And then he just couldn't believe, I went back to him again, he could not believe that, that I'm type 2 anemia, but they can't find out anything wrong with me. When they did this CAT scan at Emory Hospital, the doctor knew I had cancer. He came back in. Him and the nurse just stood up there for about a minute and a half or 2 minutes, just looked at me, profound, because they couldn't find my blood. So I went searching again. Here's my journey. I'm searching again. Searching the web. I'm on YouTube, Google, Googling everything, trying to find out where is my blood. So I found a video on YouTube saying that parasite can even steal your blood or suck your blood. And then I say, I got it. I said, I know where my blood is at. And so I stopped going to the doctors. I went to another doctor. He checked me all over, what have you. He couldn't understand. I think I went maybe about 5 doctors, 4 or 5 doctors, and then went to Emory Hospital, and that ended that journey going to the doctor. So what happened was I found out my blood was still on the inside of me. But the parasites was sucking my blood. So I tried this product, I tried that product, none of it worked, but I found something that will work. I want to thank you for tuning in to the Stop Living Sick YouTube channel. Now, our next video is going to be part 2 of vampire parasites. However, we want you to invite and also subscribe. We want you to invite your friends. Tell your friends about the YouTube channel, the Stop Living Sick YouTube channel. Also, we're going to be dealing with people that unhealthy, just unhealthy people, and they don't know how to get healthy again. There's so many people sick all around the world, and they need to come to the Stop Living Sick and Start Living Healthy YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you on the next video.